Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Video Overview by Senior Technical Writer Kurt Robbins.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that, let's be honest, is probably keeping a lot of us writers up at night. Can an AI really write more persuasively than a professional, a human writer? I mean, that's supposed to be our thing, right? The human touch.
Well, hold on to your hats because a new study from MIT just dropped a bombshell. And the answer they found is a surprising yes. Seriously, this could completely flip the script on how we think about creating content.
Okay, so we've got to unpack this, right? Let's dive into our first section here and look at this surprising preference for AI and the research that's making us question everything. So here's how the MIT study worked. It was pretty simple, really. They took a bunch of professional writers and they pitted them against GPT-4. The task for both: create some persuasive content, stuff like ad campaigns and product descriptions. But here's where it gets really cool. This wasn't just a simple human versus robot showdown. No, they set up 4 different scenarios. You had your human-only content, your AI-only content, and then 2 hybrid versions: AI content that a human polished up, and human content that an AI took a pass at. Super interesting.
Then they took all this content and gave it to a group of judges for a blind test. And this is so important. The judges had no idea who or what wrote the piece they were reading. They were just told to pick the most persuasive one. That's it.
And the results? Honestly, they're pretty mind-blowing. When the judges didn't know the source, they actually preferred the stuff written by the AI. Yeah, the pure AI content and the human writing that was tweaked by AI both came out on top as more persuasive. Wild, right?
Okay, but wait, the story doesn't end there. It gets a lot more interesting when people do know who wrote it. This is where we see this fascinating little quirk in our psychology. It's not a bias against AI, but a bias for us humans.
So check this out. When the researchers revealed the source, something really cool happened. Any piece that had a human involved in it got an instant boost in its score. But here's the kicker. The AI content score didn't drop at all. People didn't penalize it for being made by a machine. There was no algorithmic aversion, as they call it.
And this is what the researchers have dubbed human favoritism. It's just this natural, positive feeling we get when we know a person had their hands on something. We just seem to value that human touch in the creative process.
So what does this mean for you, for your business? The takeaway is huge. It means people are totally cool with AI-made content. In fact, like we saw, they might secretly prefer it. But there's a real advantage to making sure they know a human was involved, that your fingerprint is still on it somewhere.
You ever wonder why we're totally fine with AI doing some things, but completely weirded out by it doing others? Well, that brings us to this next part, a super helpful way to understand our kind of complicated feelings about AI.
So it really boils down to 2 big questions. First, do we think the AI is actually better at the task than a person? And second, how personal is the task? So you see here, we love AI for stuff like predicting sales. That's high capability, low personalization. But we get a little freaked out when it tries to recommend a movie. That feels personal, even if the AI is really good at it.
So, to put it simply, we're on board with AI when we think it's the best tool for the job, and the job isn't super personal, right? That's why an AI writing a product description feels fine, but an AI writing, say, your wedding vows? Probably not so much.
Okay, so what does all this mean for us, the actual writers? Is this the part where we panic? No, absolutely not. This is the part where we adapt. Let's talk about how AI can actually become your secret weapon.
I love this quote because it just nails it. Writers aren't going to lose their jobs to AI. They're going to lose them to other writers who know how to use AI to work smarter, better, and faster. The real game changer is learning how to wield this tool.
The way to think about this is AI as a force multiplier. I mean, think about it. It can handle all the boring, repetitive stuff, the high-volume tasks that eat up your day. And that frees you, the human, to do what we do best. Think strategically, be creative, and solve the really tough problems.
And we're not talking about some sci-fi future here. This is stuff you can do today. Need to crank out 100 product descriptions? Let AI do the first pass. Got to write that weekly newsletter? Get a draft from AI. Need some articles for SEO traffic, or even just a starting point for some ad copy? AI can do the heavy lifting on all of it.
But, and I can't stress this enough, the human is still the most important part of the equation. We're the ones who have to give it the right prompts, we're the ones who have to edit its work, and most importantly, we have to fact-check everything.
Remember, these things can hallucinate. They literally make stuff up. You are the final quality control.
All right. So knowing all this, what do you do now? How do you make sure you stay ahead of the curve?
Well, here's a great place to start. To keep learning and stay on top of all this stuff, you should definitely subscribe to the Technical Writing Success newsletter and join the Technical Writing Success group. Both are on LinkedIn, run by Kurt Robbins. It's really the best way to keep your skills sharp in this new age of AI. Thanks so much for tuning in.